La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
Get out the matrix and live.
You know what day it is? Inner Wealth Podcast. Meditate and give. So manifest the greater this. And things all good cause I say it is. Invest in your inner wealth. Real generational wealth is mental health. It's an inside game, no toxicity. Let's talk and more listening. Ladies and gentlemen, and now introducing David McCullar, founder of Inception, the first mental health gym.
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
Get out the matrix and live.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Inner Wealth Podcast. Got a special guest today. A couple years ago, one of my homies' dads was like, "Man, I gotta get my guy Courtney in there." And I was like, "Who is Courtney?" He's like, "Yeah, this guy named Courtney Bell, man. He's local hip hop artist. He would really like this spot." He's talking about Inception. So next, you know, Courtney come through. He goes to do some of our services, and after that, we sat and had a conversation probably for about an hour.
Facts.
And I realized, man, this dude was deep. So today I got my young bro, Courtney on the show. What up, though, Courtney?
What up, dog? Peace to the God. What's happening, big bro?
Man, so we talked about the mind and, you know, being deep. What led you to, you think, what was some of the things that inspired you to be so wise at a young age?
I believe my grandmother. You know what I'm saying? Rest her soul. She just transitioned.
Yeah, rest in peace, right? She just passed away.
Most definitely.
Sorry to hear that, bro.
Yeah, I've been taking it hard, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know that I know what
That's why when it happened, I saw it and I text you. I just was texting you just love, bro. Like, yeah, I ain't need you to respond back. I just letting you know, like, I know, bro. You know?
Yeah, so like, I would give her that, like, cause I remember like being a little kid, man. I would always wonder, like, growing up, like, why are you picking on me so much? That's how I felt. Out of all the grandkids, she would like be on my bumper, and she used to always take me to church with her. And just over time, like, I developed a wiser spirit, and I felt like I started to become more advanced. So I wanted to hang with an older crowd,
Right.
growing up around older people. So I can most definitely attribute it to that.
What are some of the things that she exposed you to?
My it factor.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? When I say my it factor, I mean just knowing that, like, my spirit, my snowflake effect. You know what I'm saying? She really woke me up to being who I am as a man. First and foremost, she activated my it factor. She taught me not to tuck my tail. She taught me to always be honest and open and be vulnerable. And like, she tapped on a little bit of my feminine side even before me knowing all
Yeah.
of the things that I know now, for sure.
So what do you mean by that? Tapped into your feminine side. Describe that.
Like, I believe that we are one. I believe in masculine and feminine energy. I don't believe like I'm just 100% male. I believe I am feminine and masculine energy-wise to become one. And I believe that's what the creator is. I don't
Right.
put a gender or label or like that. I'm not going to say lower vibrational stuff, but that's what it is, like living in this density and matter world that we live in, simulation program. So like, I believe in feminine and masculine energy.
So she really helped you get in touch and balance
Balance
that
myself
side.
out.
That
Exactly.
side. So and diving deep, you know, I just did a whole podcast with my mom,
Oh, that's dope.
and my mom did that for me.
Mm.
You know, the ass kickings came from dad. You know, the hardness, but I needed the woman to soothe my wounds after that.
Most
You know what I'm
definitely.
saying? To find balance. But you grow up and you realize how necessary that was. So you're not just overly masculine, and you're definitely not overly feminine. You have a
Exactly.
balance to it. So was that your mom's mom or your dad's
That was my
mom?
dad's mom. Like,
Okay.
growing up, I only had one grandmother. That was her.
Okay.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that's why I took it so hard, because I never had a
So that
grandfather.
was
That was
like
all I knew.
yeah.
Like, since from a baby up until now, like, my grandma was my heart. That's all I knew.
What was your relationship like with your mom?
To tell you the truth, my mom has a lot of trauma within herself. So it's like, growing up, I was her outlet. You know what I mean? What I mean by that is, like, I grew up in like an abusive household,
Mm.
verbally, mentally, and physically. You know what I'm
From your
saying?
mom?
Yeah, from my mom. My
Okay.
mom was very masculine.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Because her father wasn't there, and just all the things that she went through in life. Like I don't hold that against her now because I know. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? The generations of trauma that get passed down. So
Right.
like growing up, man, I had a love and hate relationship with my mom. Most
What
definitely.
I asked that specifically because it sounds like your grandmother was more of the feminine like
Yep.
side and
Hmm.
that played that role. So whatever you felt like you missed from your mom,
I
you
got
got
it
from
from
your
her.
grandmother.
And I got it from my auntie Nisi, man, my mom's sister. So like when my mom was pregnant,
Mm.
she hated my auntie Nisi, like
Mm.
bad, like in a crazy way. And I came out looking just like my auntie Nisi, wearing
Mm.
glasses and everything.
Every time I'm with you, your aunt is always, "Hey, auntie." So
That's who just called
I
me.
know, I
That's who
know.
just called me.
Yeah. So
Man, she my
that's who your
heartbeat.
auntie is.
Yep.
Okay.
And it was like growing up, the love I didn't get from my auntie Nisi showered me with love, like in
Mm.
a crazy way. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate that now to this day, especially knowing that you feel me, my grandmother is transitioned.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
How's your dad doing with all of this?
my dad is very internal with what he deal with, and he been
Mm.
like that ever since like I was born.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Because I know he lost his brother too. That's
yeah,
Hard Nard.
yeah,
That's one of your
yeah,
tracks. That's
yeah.
one of my favorite tracks on one of your albums. What was that? Ten Commandments
Yep, Ten
album?
Commandments. That was Ten
Yeah, I
Commandments.
love that track. I remember when you first came in, I took a piece of that track and put it on like you doing brain training, and the people was like, "What's that track? What's that
Hmm.
track?" I'm like, "Yo, that's the Hard Nard track."
Yeah, and
Uh,
that was one of the ones, man, like I bled my soul on because
mm,
like just like I thought me losing my uncle was the hardest pill I had to swallow ever in my life because of how close we were. Like that
mm,
was like my best friend. And that
mm,
was my dad's best friend. You feel me? We were
mm,
so close that his kids are my brothers and sisters. Like they never raised us saying like, oh, this is your little cousin. They raised us like this is your brother, this is your sister. And I'm the oldest out of all of them. So it's like his
mm-hmm.
kids are my little brothers and my little sisters.
Right,
So to lose him and not lose him in that sense, but
right.
in this realm that we live in, for him to transition, I thought it was the hardest pill until my father told me that my grandmother wasn't here no more.
How did you get into to hip hop?
Um, my mom,
Your
ironically,
mom.
like I said, like my,
Yeah.
my mom was like, "Can we say the N word on here?"
Dude, you can say
Oh,
whatever
okay.
you
All right,
want to
yeah,
say.
bet. So my mama was like, hey, even through all her trauma, through all of that, man, my mama was a real nigga. Like at the end
Mm,
of the day, like
mm.
she introduced me to Tupac, she introduced me to E40 and Be Legit,
Okay.
like that type of era of rap.
Bro, I don't know what we probably talked about this. We from Detroit, right?
Uh,
I don't West Coast music for us, for a lot of people I grew up with. We listen to all that. We
no
Be
facts.
Legit, like I said, like all of E40's
All
crew.
the
You know,
E40, yeah.
Sister with Sugar T.
Sugar T,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
All of them. I mean, Mac Mall,
Facts.
um, everybody from the Bay Area. It's
Hmm.
like there was love there from Detroit to West Coast music. So that influenced you a lot? A lot of West Coast
Yeah,
music?
yeah. West Coast influenced me first. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was what my mom introduced to me. Even though Pac is from the East Coast,
Right.
like my mom played Pac in the house first. So like Pac was one of the first artists that I heard that was
Mm,
like, I want to do this. Like even as a little kid, like I want to
mm,
do this for the rest of my life because of how charismatic he was, and he was raw, he was real, and
mm-hmm.
he was a prophet for his time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I took those type of things to heart, and then once I got older, I crossed over into KRS-One, Big L, Rakim. You know what I'm saying?
More East Coast.
EPMD,
Yeah.
exactly the heart of hip hop.
Yeah.
And once I learned that, I found my balance with them both. Like, oh yeah, like I love it.
So in growing up with those influences, and that's again, you would think that you grew up in my era, but
Hmm.
you're not. You're way younger, and that's why we vibe so much. I'm like, how you know about this music, man? We was talking about Outkast one day. We was just going down Outkast journey
Yeah.
from Sunday Playalistic, the first album, to AT Aliens, and you saw a
Hmm.
dramatic difference
Facts.
from that
Facts.
first album to that second album. And being in hip hop, what do you see? Why is it that we're far removed from being more lyrical and unique? Because all the stuff to me sounds like the same.
Hmm. I personally feel like this agenda started in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
80, 89, 88, going into the 90s. We got to know who our real opposition is first and foremost, and know that they're not for us. So anything that the masses controls, that's going to control our mind or our energy or whatever, they're going to convert it for whatever their agenda is at the end of the day. So I
Yeah.
personally feel like hip hop took this turn that we're in now to brainwash and program the younger generation, and of course my generation and all of that too. But I believe we're here now for that reason. It's not hip hop anymore, like,
Yeah.
and it also decreased our attention span. Like everything is instantaneous stimuli, like this, like
Yeah.
this, like this, to where I can drop an album and they want to hear something new
Yeah.
next week, type of thing. So I feel like it's the real ops.
Because to be honest with you, those artists back in the day, they weren't putting out massive amounts of music. First of all,
Every 2 years, 3 years, they drop
First
a
of all,
project.
yeah, and think about it from a creative standpoint. To be able to take that information, you're getting that information not from inside of yourself. You're streaming it, as I like to think. Like creativity comes from above, and we stream it down into us,
Most definitely.
and that takes a lot out of you. And you can go back and we can listen to some music that was back in the 80s, 90s. Like I can still be breaking down Goody Mob album.
Fact.
I can still be breaking down Wu lyrics, and I'm like, where?
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
So-
and they knew that, not to cut you off, but
Yeah.
they knew that. They seen this as a tool at first when hip hop first came out. Oh, hip hop is this, and that. Ain't nobody messing with it. But when they seen how it affected our minds, and
Yeah.
it was all conscious wave then, like at a point in time, hip hop was our spokesman. I didn't have to watch the news as a little kid
Right.
because this rapper was telling me what was going on outside. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's one of those type of things, most definitely, for sure.
Yeah. And so how does that feel, you being in the culture today where it's more prevalent just to, you know what, let me just get the money versus have a message?
It'll never be for money for me. And I feel like it's like that because I love this so much I do it for free for the rest of my life because I know I have the spirit of influence and leadership over me. So like I'm held accountable for the things that I say. And that's why I love it because I'm big on right now finding balance, higher self and lower self, and putting the medicine in the candy. Like
Yeah.
it's at the end of the day, just because I'm spiritual, conscious, aware, all of this shit, right? I still like to have fun and have a good time. I still listen to some of the music that's out right now. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's just finding the balance on slapping and hugging them.
Right.
Like I'm always gonna give you a message, but it's about how I get a message because people don't want to be preached to.
Right.
But they also want to know that, like, no, he's a regular person just like me. You feel me? Just because I'm spiritual
And
don't
that-
mean
and
I don't
that-
hang on the block.
That was like Pac.
Exactly.
That's how Pac felt, you know. Even though towards the end of his life, a lot of stuff got real dark, you know, in terms of, you know, somebody's after him, adversaries, and, you know, that's because it's some stuff that was happening to him in his real life.
Most definitely.
And at that point in time, music, what you heard in the music really was what transpired
What's
in
going
people's
on.
lives. It wasn't necessily WWE rap.
No, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
For
You know what
sure.
I mean by that? Like,
sure.
like, just like, dude, did you really do that? Like, like you question whether these guys really was like that. And a lot of these guys was really like that.
Really like that, for sure.
You
Hands
know,
down.
they weren't just like trying to just sell a record. You know, nowadays, like I said, it seems like more like, hey, they just make money. That's find the catchiest beat, you know, and that's go with that. So I had a conversation with Razcast, and we was talking, and I was like, bro, so if there's conscious hip hop, then what is the rest? Is it unconscious? And if it's that, then what does that mean? You know? What does that mean if the rest is unconscious? Are you acting in unconsciousness because you're listening to music that's just pure, non-intentional? It's just unconscious. It's like, let's just give you, you know, a bunch of garbage.
Exactly. And those are the things, even just speaking those type of lyrics out loud, those are things that we speak of ourselves subconsciously. You feel me? On that type of level. So me learning that too helped me guard myself when I listen to certain music and not rap certain lyrics out loud because I'm speaking that into the universe and it's also coming back into me.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
because we
saying?
talk about, you know, the laws of entropy. You know, I always talk about that. Like everything you ever spoke still exists.
Still exists in the quantum realm, most
Right.
definitely.
It can't ever go anywhere else. It can transform to something else, but typically it transforms and comes right back to you. Were you ever doing any like starting off like, you know how back in the day you know you influenced by certain things? Did you start off like with a real hard message, or how was that transition from you starting off?
I started off in the streets. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I started off doing street music because that was my reality at the time. And the streets is still my reality. Not saying like I'm involved in the streets or none of that, but I am. You know what I'm saying? I got cousins, brothers, and
Right.
you know what I'm saying? We all do. So for me starting off, I for sure started off with the streets. And I feel like Detroit is so big. I didn't look outside of me in regards to artists that influenced me because we had Blade Icewood, we had the Street Lords, we had Big Hurt, you know what I'm saying? We had Wipeout, we had all of these different artists. So like they molded my pen more than anything. And as I grew older, my consciousness started to happen. I was like 16, 17, but I didn't take it serious until 2015. So once I went through that next level of my shift, my pen changed drastically. And I feared that though, because like how we view spirituality coming from the block is like, oh no, them niggas weird. They be on this,
right,
they
right.
be, you know what I'm saying?
5%ers.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
but yeah, I remember hearing those terms in middle school. 5%ers. And I'm like, what's a 5%er? You know, but you go start listening to a lot of stuff they talk about. It's like, oh no, that's
They on some shit.
yeah.
They on some shit.
Like
most definitely.
woo, like you listen to what they stuff, like these dudes, man, like they're on a whole nother level of thought, right? And now you see why they are where they were, you know, where they are.
Exactly. And
Because
that
of
was
that
then
mind.
too.
That was then. Yeah.
Like they were, I feel like the type of music that they made transcend past time, like timeless. Like it'll be here forever.
Right.
And being in hip hop, I feel like that's what I'm striving to do, most definitely. With my
So
pen.
what changed in 2015? You said you found the consciousness about yourself at that point in time. What happened during that time frame?
I was fighting a case, most definitely at that time,
Mm,
and I've always had grace over myself. Like I done been in situations where homies to where like they got locked up or they got killed. A bullet didn't touch me. A case didn't come up on me. None of that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm fighting my case, and I'm back and forth to school. I'm at Michigan State at the time, and for the first time, like I heard God speak. You know what I'm saying? Like I was waking up from a night of drinking, and I heard "Go home" loud. Like I've never heard this before. Like it sent chills through my body. Go home. I woke up like, oh no, I'm tripping. I'm I'm blew out. I lay back down. Go home again. I packed my stuff up right then in that moment. I dropped out of college. I dropped out my apartment. I didn't pay no bills, none of that. Like I packed all my stuff up that day and I went home. And it was during that time, like synchronicity and divinity, like the voice started to speak more and more when I started to listen. And it got me to a space to where, like I said, I went plant-based, stopped drinking, stopped smoking, stopped doing everything for years. And, you know, that led me to the space that I'm in right now, listening, hearing. I heard it in 2015, and from that point on, like I yearned for that. I live for that voice now, most definitely.
Yeah. Is that where you got God body? The
Yep.
term God body came. What the term God body mean to you?
It means enlightenment. It means being in tune with self. More than anything, is knowing that I am God body. I am connected to the collective consciousness that we call the Creator, and me knowing that I am God. I am a God. I move as a God. You know what I'm saying? And I have to feed myself the nutrients that a God needs to vibrate at the frequency that God vibrates at.
A lot of
You
people,
feel me?
don't like in our culture, because you know, in our culture, most of us growing up, you either Christian or you Muslim.
For
And
sure.
if you're Muslim, you Nation of Islam.
Nation of
Muslim,
Islam,
right?
exactly.
So there was no, or you may be Jehovah Witness, right? But those are the main
Yeah.
thought processes
Thought
you
process,
go around.
for
So
sure.
when you say, you know, I'm God and things of that nature, a lot of people that triggers them to, oh no, no, I ain't.
Not my Jesus.
Right.
For sure.
It's not, but they still don't understand that even coming from their own space of religion, that's what it's saying. It's saying the same thing.
Christ said it. Did
Yeah.
I not say ye are gods?
Yeah.
Once I read that hit me on a whole nother level. Now, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like that was one of the main teachers of Christ. Like when
Yeah.
everybody came to him to the Bible, trying to give him so much. Hey, that wasn't me. That was all you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Even
saying?
the least amongst you
Even the least
will
amongst
do
you.
greater than me.
Exactly.
Right?
And he taught the power of the mind.
Yeah. But we've been stripped of that through slavery.
Hands down.
You know,
Most
we've been stripped of that. Well, we deny our own self power.
definitely.
You know, and so let's talk about your healing journey, because that's really how you get back.
Oh man,
To-
my healing journey been lit.
So how did you? What was the what would you say is the beginning of it for you?
It was last year. Like
Okay.
I didn't start healing, and I like I'm gonna say this. Just when what we was talking about before the podcast even came on, like I've been a nigga with my knowledge. So
Mm,
like I've been that person that just wanted to insert myself in rooms and sound good with conversations and all of that just to
mm,
show that I know a lot and I didn't know anything at the end of the day.
yeah.
So like my healing journey started last year from a bad breakup. I was
Mm,
with my shorty for 5.5 years, knew her 10 plus years, and looking back at it, like we both were toxic, very toxic, had a lot of traits from our parents that was passed down and all of that.
mm-hmm.
And me walking away from her really showed me like, bro, you are very toxic. It's time for you to heal. And I started taking sacred plant medicine. I started
Mm,
doing shrooms,
mm-hmm.
and I seen myself at my lowest and I see myself at my highest. And it fueled my fire to like dive deeper into my healing. So
Yeah.
like I would give it to me walking away from that breakup and seeing how broken I was as
Mm,
a young man. You know what I'm saying? Not getting love from my mom or not getting this from my father and not blaming him for it. But like
yeah.
I have to gather those pieces back of myself
Right.
from, you know what I'm saying, the broken child that I was, most definitely.
Yeah. So when we're basically talking about psychedelics now, and the channel typically I'm not sure if I've really shared anything I've done with psychedelics, but I think one time there was somebody on my page and they were saying something like they saw Inception and they were like, oh, just take some shrooms, whatever. And I was like, yeah, that's something I do too. Then
Hmm.
another comment came like, oh, you on here and you promoting shrooms? And I'm just like, I just don't think you understand what, first of all, psilocybin is,
Hmm.
how now there's multiple companies, one in Canada, and I won't even mention their name, they don't pay me.
No facts.
But they're in Canada, they're publicly traded in the Canada market, and they're making Inception style franchises for psychedelics.
Mm.
Yeah. And it's another company that's made a ketamine nasal spray. Ketamine is known for
Oh yeah,
depression.
yeah, yeah.
There's another company too that's coming out with some type of psychedelic type of I want to call it pharmaceuticals, as
Okay.
well. So they're already in the space.
Oh yeah,
So the
for
stuff
sure.
that we like to, oh no, stay away from that. That's of the devil. Like, bro, they already are moving and about to be making billions of dollars off something that's been around for thousands of
Yeah, I
years.
was about
That's
to say
been
then there are
that's been
millions of
healing
years.
people.
Yeah, most definitely.
Mushrooms are a fungus, and they're the largest or the oldest living organism on the planet. They
Hmm.
hold information. So
Hmm.
they are in Silicon Valley microdosing with psilocybin. And I've microdosed with psilocybin for years.
You know, it's crazy. Like I've only been taking the sacred plant medicine and psychedelics for a year,
Mm,
and through the whole time I've been doing it, man, microdosing hasn't been my thing, and well, I can't say it hasn't been my thing because I haven't fully tried it.
mm,
Like I'm the type of person I don't have no fear or anything, and I feel like
mm,
fear is what block our people and just people in general with religion, with all of that
mm.
type of stuff. Like once I got out of my mind of fear of oh no, God is going to damn me for this, or I'm doing that to myself because
Right.
of my fear.
Yeah.
And my lack of belief in myself, first and foremost. So once I got past that and I started taking the psychedelics, it was like, yo, this shit, like, is beautiful more than anything
Mm,
because like I was able to internalize and go so deep within myself
yeah.
and tap into past lives and all of those type of things too. So
Hmm.
like I tell people that all the time. Like had I not taken psychedelics, I wouldn't be where I am
Yeah.
mentally and spiritually and emotionally. Like it really allowed me to see myself from a perspective that I wouldn't have been able to see myself sober, I say.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because of course, we take the psychedelics, we go into that altered consciousness.
Hmm.
And whether it's higher self or lower self, depending on what the lesson is when you take the plant, you're gonna learn your lessons. So
Right.
like for me, like that really helped me more than anything. Let me cut this down. Ain't gonna phone keep tripping. But that helped me more than anything. Like I
Mm,
tell all my homies, like, bro, psychedelics is the way. Most
mm.
definitely. Not the only way, because we can do it sober, of course.
Yeah.
But that opens the gate up.
Well, again, I didn't do anything for years. I just did all my stuff that I use at Inception,
Hmm.
but that was just another piece of it, for me, because what we do at Inception is a form of psychedelics.
For
It's just
sure.
technological. You know, it's what it's doing is alter states of consciousness.
I was just about to say that I've entered altered states of consciousness being there.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of therapy.
Yeah,
For
so
sure.
that's the main thing is just different levels and layers of it. So with psilocybin, I'm not sure if you looked at the MRI scans and what happens and how many connections it makes in your brain.
Yeah, for sure I am. With the neurons.
Yeah.
They get the firing off
Yeah,
for sure.
it's a lot more connections. You have a lot more route to possibilities than the same pathways you've been firing. You know, if you've only been firing 10 pathways and then you take psychedelics or psilocybin, it's like 100 active pathways. It's like, okay, you have way more possibility, right? So you've done the psychedelics in terms of psilocybin, but you've done ayahuasca too, right?
Yes.
Okay, how was that? How was that experience for you?
The best experience I've ever had in my life. Like I've known, like me doing my research first, like Mama Aya came to me. I didn't look up ayahuasca.
They
I
always say
didn't-
that.
Mama Aya came to me. And for my homies that's shamans and that's deep into spirituality, they like, whenever she come to you, it's time for you to do it. And I had been seeing it for about a year, but not diving into it.
Yeah.
And like she started to press hard. Like I started seeing it everywhere. Everybody was talking about it in just about every conversation I was walking into.
Yeah.
And my homeboy Archeon, he's a shaman. He ended up
That's an interesting name.
Yeah.
Wait, first of all, his name Archeon.
Name fire. His name fire for sure.
Go holler at Archeon, man. He gonna take you somewhere.
But you feel me? He took us on our first trip, most definitely. And the experience for me was I was fighting it at first. So it's a whole ceremony that you go through, of course, to raise the vibration. We sing, we welcome our ancestors, we do all of those different things. And then you have to take the Syrian rule because the ayahuasca is DMT, of course, in liquid form. And dimethyltryptamine.
Yeah.
And we have gases and liquid in our stomach that when we drink the tea, it kills it instantly.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to take this plant called Syrian rue, and the Syrian rue is an inhibitor for it. So boom, we take it, and like that experience, I started to speak another language once I crossed over. I spoke a language I never, of course, I don't know it consciously, but
Right.
my ancestors moved directly through me. Like it went so once I crossed over and I like stopped fighting it, I looked at my skin and got to licking myself like, is this real? Like, and the first word that I said was, how did I get back to earth? Why am I here? How did I, it was one of those
Right.
type of experiences. And it's like, I feel like I don't want to say we sit in the sunken place when we go into the altered state of consciousness, but like you are aware of everything that's going on, even when if you're a conduit and your ancestors speak through you or the spirits speak through you or whatever. It was one of those type of experiences for me to where like I'm like, whoa, whoever took over my body was an ancestor and he was ancient and he haven't been down to earth in a very long time.
Wow.
And he spoke a language.
You see how they start dropping this stuff in like Black Panther?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The what
Astral plane.
the astral plane.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that and Mike Tyson has been someone who's been doing ayahuasca, psilocybin, toad medicine.
That's what I want to try.
Really?
I want to do toad next.
Rashad Evans from UFC. Yeah. It's a lot of us that's starting to really go that way and understanding that really the reason why we're trying to go that way, and it's not just us, there's a lot of white people running down to Peru, man, to do ayahuasca. And you have to, as we talk about these psychedelics too, we have to put a disclaimer that one is not legal here.
For sure.
Right? So, and we're not recommending that you go do that.
Oh,
You
yeah,
got-
nah.
You got your own consciousness to do whatever you want to do. But,
sure.
But multi-association of psychedelic studies, MAPS, they've been using psychedelics in therapy sessions. Over in Brazil, I've heard they use ayahuasca in the jails. Yeah, for rehabilitation. I don't think it's all the jails. It may be one particular jail, but so these things are coming back to the forefront. And again, like Inception is just a different form of that. It's just a technological form, and then you have the actual plant-based medicine. So it's not something that's of the devil and all these different
not
things.
at all, man. Not at all.
Like, but that's where a lot of people go to in our minds because we've been cut off from ourselves. So what are we afraid of? Ourselves. And so the idea of a bad trip. I don't believe there's a such thing as a bad trip.
Me either.
There's a bad
Me either.
experience with you.
And you know what? I told all my homies that too, because it was like for me, when I had my first bad trip,
Mm-hmm.
it was like, bro, it's not no demons attacking you. It's you.
Yeah, it's you.
You have to go to the lowest of yourself
Mm-hmm.
to connect with the highest of yourself and coexist with
Yeah.
them right here. You know what I'm saying? You got 3 chakras below you and 3 chakras above your heart.
Mm-hmm.
So, like when I had my first bad trip, it wasn't even scary.
Yeah.
Like when it got dark, I'm like, whoa. But the spirit was like, I'm here with you. It's time for you to heal from this.
Yeah. I is somebody who worked for me, and she's actually, I'm gonna have her on the show, and she's a transpersonal therapist, where she does the therapy sessions while you're on whatever psychedelic, right? A lot of people too are using MDMA, but she used to work for me. Name is Julie, and so I'm gonna have her on so we can really break down like this is what she does, and she has the Michigan Psychedelic Association here, where they in Ann Arbor, you know, they decriminalized
Mushrooms.
mushrooms, so it's
Most
illegal
definitely.
now there, and it's becoming legal in other places. So it's like marijuana now.
Yeah.
That's where we're headed with this. You
I
know?
would love to get in with her. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, I connect you to Julie. But it was some years ago, man. I was going through a pretty tough time. It was a winter, and I was recommended I should maybe try microdosing, and somebody gave me it was a quarter of my pinky nail of a cap, of golden teachers.
I got some golden teachers at home right now. I'm doing today.
Some golden teachers. He don't have no golden teachers at home.
Oh, right. Yeah. I
No.
don't have none at home.
But the golden teachers, and so I had that, and literally within probably 2 hours of taking it, I was like, I think I'm tripping, man. Like not tripping like tripping, but I was like, I feel like my mood had just elevated.
Mm.
And I was like, this gotta be placebo. And as I started doing more, and I was doing it like every other day, there was a drastic difference.
Mhm.
It started cleaning me out. It started to, I had more energy, more ability to focus and concentrate. And I had this experience in the float tank that just led me out. I was just bawling in the float tank. You know, man? Like I could have filled that tank up with my
With your
tears.
tears.
Because I was crying so much, and I say this on a previous episode. I think it was maybe on the second or third episode. I was talking about how I had this thought where it said, unexpressed gratitude turns into grief.
Mm.
The thing is, you're supposed to be an express emotion. So even if
sure.
you're grateful for somebody, like, man, I'm grateful for you, brother. Like, if I never say that to you, let's say something happened to you. Now I'm grieving. What am I really grieving? Am I grieving that you're not here? I'm grieving that I never even be able to express, how I felt about you. You know what I'm saying? So that was a thought, and I saw that, and I got off the tank and made a list of everybody I was grateful for. I was texting them and stuff. People was calling me like, "You all right, man?" like they thought something was wrong with me.
Yeah.
And it's like, nah, something's right. Like I needed to begin to become more expressive in, how I felt about people. Because I'm very action based too.
For sure.
Like I don't like talking. Like that's how my family are. We're not talkers. We're doers.
Doers, for sure.
To me, love is a verb. So you act upon it,
Right.
and that's how we show. But it's also good to verbalize things too. So if you're gonna verbalize things, just be congruent with it. But yeah, man, I think the psychedelics is definitely a powerful thing that can change our culture as well. And we begin to integrate it with everything else we got going on. So how is your healing journey and going through the things with psychedelics and the ayahuasca, how has that been helpful to the people around you?
Just like you just said, the unexpressed gratitude, like it really brought me to a space of gratitude with everything around me, good and bad. You know what I mean? And it really showed me how to not take anything personal because we're all walking projections
Yeah.
at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So me doing those things has helped my relationship with my mother, helped my relationship with my father, my brothers, my sister, and it made me become a better person than everyone around me. And just like you said, it got me out of the space of talking and going into the space of action with everything that I had going on with myself internally.
Yeah.
And it showed people around me that it's possible. Because for those who really know me, they know like what I used to be into and the things that I used to do. So for me to be in this space now and be on enlightenment and the conscious and awareness and everything that we own, it's like if he can do it and these were one of the things that helped him get there, then I'm with it.
Because even your manager, what's your manager?
Ray.
Ray. Yeah, even Ray, I can tell when I was talking to him, and I was like, you've been around Courtney. And now, I can say that was my first time meeting Ray. I can probably say, you've been around Ray. But just because I don't know Ray, I'm thinking, you've been around Courtney. Because he told me something. He's like, man, I came into Inception, and I brain trained. He's like, bro, that changed my life. And it just made me think, like, well, that changed their life because Courtney. You know, so I was just thinking about all the other things that you're doing, how it's impacting the people around you.
And like, I like to showcase that I'm human first and foremost, and I believe that's the it factor with everyone who's not into spirituality or higher consciousness. Like show, like I said, bro, like I still go on the block and kick it with my niggas. You know what I'm saying? I still go to parties or like different little events and stuff like that because spirituality isn't just, oh, I'm detached from everything. I'm a monk. I'm floating somewhere in the woods, which is what I would love to do. But I also know that someone has to be an example, especially with me doing music. I'm accountable for everything that I say and that I do. Every word.
Everything in moderation, including moderation.
Exactly.
You know?
That's facts.
It's like, yeah. Like, I go out, I have a good time, man. I can have a drink. I ain't gonna have 5 of them.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll partake in things that's gonna be helpful, but not hurtful. When I get to the hurtful side, then I'm like, well, what am I doing that for? You know?
Most definitely.
I need to back away from that. So, you know, us being able to, you know, utilize life as a way to experience it versus a way to try to heal ourselves from these external things, you know, and that's what you find in hip hop. That's not just hip hop, but just black culture. It's like we like to like, instead of doing the internal work, we want to live from the outside in.
From the outside in.
Right? And we like, no, me and you like, look, let's get in here, do the internal work and let the...
And let it shine outward.
Yes, absolutely. Versus, no, I got a range, that's who I am. That makes me feel better about myself. It's like, no, you feel good about yourself. That's why you're able to get the range and not really be attached to it.
Exactly, to the point to where, like, for me, the spirit has truly taught me gratitude for everything. Like, to the point to where I can lose something.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I'm gonna be frustrated, like, but
Right.
over time, it's like, bro, none of this matters anyway. Like, I'm happy with or without it. It doesn't dictate how I move or my mood or none of that. Because I've lost a lot of things the past few months.
Yeah.
Feel me? Grandma, jury, like I've lost a lot of things, but the lessons in it taught me so much more.
And the thing is, in life, you will lose everything in it.
For sure.
Know? Nothing lasts forever. You know, and we will, like every day, something in your body is dying off.
For sure.
You know? But we have an attachment to things.
Attachment to attachment.
You know, our desires and our attachments is what really causes us a lot of pain. You know, and I've learned, and you know me, some stuff happened to me recently. Gotta let go.
You got to. Right now, like, there's I used to be the type of person, bro, that knowing that this is bad for me, you showing me all of the signs that I shouldn't even be interacting with you, but I allow my heart to be so big that I turn a blind eye to all the bullshit that you did. And then once I finally let go, it hurt me to the point where, like, damn, if I'd just let go right then and there, I wouldn't even be going through what I'm going through internally because you gave me the signs and I chose to keep ignoring them.
That's the thing. I don't have to remove people from my life. I've never removed people from my life.
They remove themselves.
People remove themselves. The only thing that keeps them around is what? You holding on.
You holding on, for sure.
Because they letting you know, I don't want to be here with you. You know, they may be saying they do, but the actions let you know that they don't. So this is a sensory suit we live in, right? Our bodies. And it's one thing that we get from doing the healing work. We get deeper in tune with it, where people say, oh, you sensitive. Like, yeah, I am sensitive. I ain't Ralph Tresvant sensitive. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
But I'm sensitive to my suit.
To your suit, most definitely.
And when I'm picking up stuff in the environment, like, look, if you see an animal outside and they run away from you, they're picking up something that can be threatening. So they're moving out the way, right? So the suit is sensitive. The suit is aware, and I'm going to pay attention to it. Because I'm not just going to what I notice in my neighborhood from walking around. And I told you, off camera, I walk like 10 miles a day in my neighborhood. And I'll just see, I don't know how many cars I seen blow through stop signs. And I saw that and I was like, you know what? That's us in life. How many times them red flags and them stop signs been coming up and you've been blow through them? You blow through enough of them and you're going to get hit.
Oh, for sure. I done got hit a lot of times.
Yeah.
In this lifetime that we live in now. I done got hit a lot of times.
So in that relationship you had for 5 years, how many stop signs were you blowing through?
Oh man, I blew through every one.
Yeah. Because up front, right?
Yeah, for sure.
If you go back, you like,
sure.
Man, I knew this wasn't good.
Yeah. And you know what? What it was for me was I wasn't honest with myself and she wasn't honest with herself. And we hid so many parts of our true self from each other just by the way we was raised. You know what I'm saying? Like she didn't get this healed version of me. She got the unhealed, the ignorant, the loud talker, the narcissistic type of person that I was. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy because Spirit came to me and was like, you got to close that chapter completely because I haven't closed it just due to our last situation and how everything ended. Like I had a lot of bitterness towards her, but I started to journal. Every morning when I wake up now, I write 3 pages from this Creative Way book that I learned about. And whatever's on my mind, on my heart, when I wake up, I just write it. I don't think, I just let my hand go. And the deeper I started to get in it, I started to crack into my subconscious. And a lot of things that I was holding against her, it wasn't even her fault. So the deeper I started to write, I started to see like, oh, damn, this wasn't her fault. This the reason why this happened. This wasn't, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it allowed me to forgive myself and forgive her because I was holding so much space in my heart and so much hate in my heart towards her that it was affecting me on a crazy level. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So we see how in relationships, we really, the relationships really are a mirror for us to see ourselves.
Hands down.
The problem is we don't want to see it.
We don't want to see ourselves.
Each partner. If you refusing to see yourself, you're gonna have some more pain. What you resist will persist, right?
Exactly. And you're gonna repeat that same cycle with every person that you go into until you actively make the aware decision to, okay, I'm not liking this about myself. It's time for me to change it.
Right.
For sure.
How has this inner work that you've been doing within the last and you didn't start doing the inner work last year, bro. That's when you started doing psychedelics. You came to me, you started.
Yeah.
I just think there was just a different level that you went to it.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
For
sure.
You started. And that's what too, as you started, you probably didn't even realize it when you came to us, the stuff that was coming up for you that you probably didn't even realize it. Yeah, because people think they come to Inception and just like, oh, this feel good. Well, then you walk away and all of a sudden you gassing off and you angry and stuff.
Yep.
You don't know
you
why.
Crying, random days, waking up, don't know what's wrong, and you crying harder because it's like, what's wrong with me?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, no, it just opens you up.
It opens you up, most definitely. But I said I really started healing actively last year from an awareness perspective. Like I started it when I came to Inception.
From an intentional standpoint.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was intentional with my healing last year,
Yeah.
starting last year. I started it because in the back of I wanted to do it, but I didn't really want to do it. I didn't want to face those hard parts of myself, those hard truths. So me walking away from her showed me the type of person that I was to everyone, not even just her.
Yeah.
She was just the person that I was with every day. So I can say that, okay, the person that I was with her, this is the woman I lay down with every night at the end of the day. This is who I'm coming home to. So she gets the real version of me, and she not even getting the real version of me because I'm hiding it. I'm hiding who I am truthfully.
Right.
Like the things that I like, I suppressed a lot of things. Like my big homie told me this. He was like, how you start your household off is how it's going to end. So at the end of the day, if you got a kid, you got a girl, you can't expect her to start cleaning up a year into y'all relationship when you didn't set that standard when you first met her type of thing.
Right.
So like now, where I am now, I see things for what they are. And I also know, like I said, like with me intentionally healing now, I see the type of person that I was and I didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
At all.
How has your music changed from being more intentional about your healing journey? Has it changed any?
Yeah, like I'm finding like one of my hardest things is like really telling my truth and like really telling how I feel. I'm out of it now, but like going through the healing journey, I was so focused on my healing journey, I couldn't find the words to express what I was going through while I was going through it. I'm that type of person. Like I have to go through something, and
Yeah.
once I'm out of it, I can fully express it with certain situations. Like you feel me? Like with my uncle Nard, when he passed, I expressed instantly. But like with my grandma, like I went into a shutdown and I couldn't write music. I couldn't write what I was feeling, the hurt, and all of that. Because music is my outlet. This is how I release everything. I am my therapist at the end of the day. Inception is my therapist at the end of the day.
Right.
And like it's really helped me open myself up more and really speak on what I feel.
I wonder how it'd be you doing guided therapy though with some of your trips.
Look, that's what's crazy. I did that once. That's why I just said I want to meet her. You said her name was Julie.
Mm-hmm.
I did one with my best friend. Spirit told me to call her one time. I was on a trip, and I'm hitting my singing bowl, raising the vibration. You know what I'm saying? And like I went into an altered trance, and when they answered, she just got to asking me questions, and it came like a lot of things that I didn't even know I was battling with, or like I was holding back with myself. It came out. So I will most definitely want to do guided trips.
Yeah.
For sure, to where I'm being spoken into, because at the end of the day, everything is open. Your subconscious, unconscious mind, conscious, lower self, higher self, everything is open. And I do them by myself too. So
I did one mushroom trip. That was the only one I did. Everything else was just microdosing, but I took it, and I didn't take a lot too. I did like a 1 gram. See, my system is very sensitive. You know, Kalindi, first of all, to dive even to Kalindi for a second. He was doing like 30 grams.
I just did a 10-gram trip.
Yeah, bro. I wouldn't know where I would end up. I would be in a different portal somewhere off galactic somewhere at 10 grams. So 1 gram, I did the 1 gram, and I made this tea with it.
Yeah,
at that one
the
point.
tea is way better than
it's
eating
absorbed.
them.
Yeah. I felt nauseous, and I was like, "Damn, I feel nauseous." And like, it's like this voice was like, "Why don't you just throw up?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Cause I don't want to throw up."
Why don't you throw up?
It's like, what you scared of? Next thing I was like, "I don't know, man," and I threw up. And actually, this is before I was sitting there, and I took it, and I was like, "I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what's gonna happen," and it just kept saying in my head, "I don't know what's gonna happen." I was nervous, and something came to me. It's like, you didn't know. Remember, you didn't know what was gonna happen when you were in that float tank the first time. I was like, yeah. And it's like, what happened? I was like, nothing. So I let go of the need to know what was gonna happen, and when I let that go, I threw up.
Yeah. And that's one thing I've learned with mushrooms as well, like how intelligent they are. They know what your body need once it enters.
Yeah.
So like I've done trips and I've thrown up like some crazy stuff. Like, why is this even in my body? What color is this? Like I've thrown up black things before, and that emotion, trauma, stored. Like I love it when we was at the Pistons thing. You said the issue is in the tissue. Once we open our tissue up with taking them shrooms, your body is going to naturally release.
Well, remember, mushrooms are organisms, the oldest living organism. They're decomposers. So I take not just out of psychedelics. Let's talk outside of psychedelics. Let's talk about things like lion's mane.
Lion's mane.
This is over the counter. You can buy lion's mane. Paul Stamets, who's a mycologist. Look up Paul Stamets if you don't know who Paul Stamets is.
I don't know who he is.
Mycologist, a study of mushrooms and mycology. You know, this guy is he basically cured himself of stuttering from taking mushrooms.
Damn.
Taking psilocybin. I think he maybe took 5 grams or something like that. And so he actually helped his mother heal from like stage 4 cancer, stage 5 cancer, one of those, with turkey tail mushrooms. So mushrooms are like the answer for the planet. They are the decomposers. When you die, like, what do you think that's decomposing your body? It's the spores of the fungus. Like we breathe in, I think, 20 spores a second or something like that. Something ridiculous. You've actually too on the Netflix. They have the Fantastic Fungi. They just released it on Netflix. It was on YouTube, but when you watch that, you'll understand too that under the ground there's what's called the mycelium network. The mycelium network, if you look, there's these plants, and this is fungal network that's connecting all the plants. The plants communicate with each other, and it looks like the internet, and it looks like your brain pattern, and it looks like the universe.
That's crazy.
Right? Because it's a fractal. So all that is on the Fantastic Fungi. But yeah, they're using mushrooms too, or a fungus to decompose like oil spills.
Mhm.
So when you take that and that goes into your body, that's why I say cleaning you out. Like it's doing more than what people think and they can even imagine on a scientific level. This is not just some woo woo stuff. It's just science,
Mhm.
you know. And if you understand the science and you understand like this is powerful stuff, man, you can, like I said, out in Silicon Valley, where do you think they making this stuff? Some of this stuff from
For sure.
from microdosing.
For sure.
You know, look at all these technologies we're coming out. A lot of that's been from taking
From
mushrooms.
taking shrooms.
Yep, and connecting inward. You know.
Yeah, that's deep. I love that.
Yeah.
That's
So
deep.
well, of course, we be behind on stuff. We just don't weed.
Mhm. No,
We
right,
like,
right. And even then, what I noticed from taking psychedelics and all that and opening myself up, when I do choose to smoke weed, I go instantly.
because that's a psychedelic too.
It's a psychedelic.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
again, we just how we use the stuff. We don't
Exactly.
use it resourcefully. You know, we waking and baking. If you waking and baking, you got an issue.
No, for sure.
You know,
For
because
sure.
as soon as you wake up, you're anxious. Like, so
Mhm.
it's just about how do we cleanse a lot of this stuff out of our body and get back connected, pour out the cup so we can bring new stuff
Mhm.
in, you know. So let's talk too, like most rappers, man, names these days is like little this, little that, and you
Mhm.
just Courtney Bell,
Yeah.
which is powerful. So
Most
why
definitely.
why are you just Courtney Bell and not some other name that's you know, that goes along with the culture?
Because I learned about duality
Mm.
and what that really meant, and I didn't want that. I didn't want to be the Kid LC, which was what my first rap name was. The
Okay.
Kid LC. I didn't want to be the Kid LC, which was still LC is Little Courtney because my pop's name is Big Courtney. So,
Okay.
like, I didn't want to be that person that was the Kid LC to the world, but I was Courtney to my family.
Mm.
Because over time, like, that causes a personality split. And
Yeah.
I didn't want to be at war with myself on who I really am. So
Mm.
me learning about that, I learned like, no, I just want to be Courtney. I want to be Courtney to everybody. And I wanna be who I am. I want to speak my truth to get to the truth and help the people. And me changing my name to my regular name was just
Mhm.
like, no, bro, I'm me. I'm the Courtney to you. I'm Courtney to you. I'm Courtney to you, and I'm Courtney to you.
Yeah.
And it really helped me with battling internally within myself. Like I don't have to second guess nothing. I am who I am. I
Yeah.
don't have a rapper image.
Right.
I'm just me. You
Right.
feel me? And I feel like that's what attract people to me.
Yeah.
With everything I already be on with the high vibes, the frequency, spirituality, all of those type of things is just attributes. But if you took all that away, like, would you still love Courtney? Would I love Courtney? Would I love who I am? And I
Mhm.
love who I am and who I'm becoming. So I'm building Courtney Bell as a brand. Just like it was if I was a Lil Baby, Duh Baby, Lil Sky, and all of these other
Yeah.
crazy names. You feel
Yeah.
me? I just want to be me at the end of
Yeah.
the day.
You know how many rappers died last year?
Yes.
How many?
Well, I don't know the number,
Yeah, but
but
it's I literally saw probably over 20.
Mhm.
And it was all little this and little that
Yep.
and ABC this and it was just like, what's going on, man? Like,
Mhm.
do you get a lot of them reaching out to you, looking up to you in any way?
Um, I'ma just say it from a local standpoint for like our biggest artists here, the Peasies, the Sadas, the all of them. Like they view me as the spirit of the city,
Mm.
most definitely, and that's why I said like me being me is imperative because this is what I'm. One of the things I'm called to do: bring spirituality into the game and show niggas that it's okay to heal. It's okay to go back to that broken child that you was and become a father to it. At
Mm-hmm.
the end of the day, so like when I get in the rooms with these certain artists. I have a very strong spirit. My
Mm.
spirit is very strong. And, you know, when we had these conversations, they like, bro, what you own is what we need.
Yeah.
And we most definitely not looking up to, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you inspire us more
Looking
than you know.
into.
Ooh, deep. Looking into. Most definitely.
That
That's it.
inspiring. It's in.
And, ooh, that's deep. That's a gem.
That yeah.
That's a gem.
It's inspiring. It's inside.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we don't inspire someone outwardly.
Facts.
No, they go inward
go
to
in.
spirit,
In
inspirited.
spirit.
You know,
Yeah.
so that's what you're doing. And I noticed when we were at that draft party, I'm like, there's a lot of rappers there, and I didn't even know they was rappers. I just knew they was rappers.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, for sure.
But
for
I'm
sure.
like, but that's Courtney,
Mhm.
and that's bigger than rap.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And you know what is crazy? Like I've been in, like I said, I've been in rooms with a lot of them, but just
Mhm.
energy wise and me being who I am and doing the inner work, like I stand out in every room I go in. I don't have to say
Well,
anything.
and I just met her, and I'll be talking to her as Mama Soul.
My lady.
She came up, and just how the reverence she had for you
Mm-hmm.
and the reverence you had for her. You talking to somebody who's like, I'm probably an elder to you, even though
Oh, for sure.
I'm not old, but you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
But she's an elder, and when the elders can look at you and this can be a mutual respect, that says a lot. Versus
Most
me
definitely.
looking at you like, bro, what's going on with you, man?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you look lost.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who are you? That's because you were the only one there who was really Courtney.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't no other entity.
Nothing for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
You ain't no other entity. You.
Mm-hmm.
And that C murder, he went to jail because his name literally got him caught up. You know that?
No, I didn't know that.
That's Master P, brother.
No, I know who C Murder
Yeah.
is, but I didn't know his name was.
He got
it makes sense.
caught up with a murder charge, and they're using his name against him.
They
You
gonna
know?
use Courtney Bell name against
What are they gonna say?
Courtney Bell, exactly.
Right. What are they gonna say?
Mm-hmm.
You know, they'll use his lyrics against him. You know, well, we got a lot of evidence. Look at what he's talking about. Look at his name. He must have did it, right? Obviously, Master P and them, they think he's innocent, and I'm gonna believe P. He's probably innocent. But again, it's enough evidence on the other side to say,
there's
no,
a possibility that he's not, for sure.
Yeah, watch what you put out there. And like we say, every lyric you speak, if somebody's listening to your music over and over and over, what does that do to you? Has anybody ever thought about that?
I don't think people think about that at all, which is why I was saying what I was saying
Yeah.
earlier with, you know what I'm saying, where the level of lyricism has went, and why I don't listen to certain music, and why I don't recite certain lyrics, because it's going back within me, and I'm programming myself more than I know.
Yeah.
You know?
Because there's a biblical verse where Jesus said, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I am present, right? So if you're an artist and you have certain music and you have a bunch of people playing your song going over and over, what is present? What becomes present based on the intentions of the words that you're speaking? What is present? Whatever it is that's coming out your music.
That's deep.
You know?
For
and
sure.
that becomes a hypnotic trance to them and you. You know? It's like, for real though. I heard somebody recently on IG is like, bro, listen to what we speak. We're the only culture that can speak and say kill a nigga, rob a nigga, steal a nigga, shoot a nigga, all of this stuff. Like, and it's okay. You know? It's like we're the only people that just like, we encourage killing each other, and we'll get in the car, we'll rap. We'll sing to it like that. You know? I told her I can't be with a woman who in a club singing Jeezy lyrics. No more Jeezy lyrics than me. Like what are we doing, bro?
Facts.
Facts. What we doing, man? And then why is it that when we talk about positivity, like, and I've always felt like that my whole life, like why are we doing negative stuff? And why is negativity so higher than anything positive?
Psychological programming, which is back to what I was saying during the 80s and the 90s. The real ops got together and seen how powerful this rap music is going to be. So the whole trajectory of music, movies, all of that changed. Majority of the movies in the 90s was about dope dealing, killing our own kind. And I said this in the last podcast, like growing up, sadly, we idolized a lot of those characters.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The DMX on Belly, or
Nino.
Old Dog, or Nino.
Right.
Like we embodied those characteristics and the spirit that was on these movies. All of this is what got us to the space that we in now. And it's been started years ago, hundreds of years ago. But
well, I think the family, the breakdown of the family was obviously the start, and then you program them and what you want them to see.
Exactly.
What is it that you want them to see? They're already confused, right? So now you give them a message. Now you do the Manchurian Candidate.
that movie messed me
Yeah.
up because I already believed and knew about all of that, the MK Ultra mind program.
I was just about to
Yeah.
say that one of your songs on your album is MK Ultra,
MK
right?
Ultra. Most
So
definitely.
explain that to what that is to the people. MK Ultra.
Just from my studying, I personally believe that MK Ultra is the tool for duality. Causes personality splits within a person. I'm not sure what they do to them, whether it's electric therapy or shocking them or whatever they do, but it causes a split in a personality to where there's room to be controlled at a sound, a word can allow that spirit or whatever it is to take control, and you take the back seat and go to the sunken place at the end of the day.
Right.
So the Manchurian Candidate was exactly
Courtney,
about
what's
that.
your middle name?
Jason.
Courtney Jason Bell. Like, remember that was his thing, to activate him.
Activate him.
Say his full name, you activate, right?
Exactly.
And I think now when we get on IG and we scroll, the scrolling becomes our activator. The people we follow.
Facts.
Because look, how many images are we scrolling across and seeing basically the same stuff, you know, that activates us. Now we have a triple consciousness. You know, it's called triple consciousness theory. It's one of the guys, Jonathan, who I follow, who's coming out with that information. But yeah, these aren't who we are. You know, who are we? And that's where we get down to doing the healing work, to tap back in.
Exactly.
You know,
Most
tap
definitely.
back into who we are. So I appreciate you, man, doing, you know, getting on your journey. And it ain't easy.
No,
You know what I'm saying?
this has been the hardest space of my walk I've ever endured because of the lessons that spirit is teaching me. Like, I have to learn it because at the end of the day, like, I believe in reincarnation. Most definitely. I'm not coming back down here. So for this time being, if I have to go through the turmoil with my healing and face a lot, cut people off, fall back from a lot of things, then that's what I'm gonna do. Because I want to know what it's like to live in true peace within myself. And my external environment doesn't have anything to do with it. Because everything outside of me is already in me. My peace lies within. Everything, happiness, anger, all of that lies within. So, like, my healing journey is all I care about. Like, that's all I care about when I wake up in the morning. I don't even do music, like, majority of the time. Like, I'm reading, meditating, or I'm figuring out what bad habits I have that I have to unwind, or certain karmic patterns that was passed down to me that my grandfather couldn't heal from. Like, this is way bigger than me. Like, I'm healing for my ancestors that didn't have the strength to do it in their lifetime. And they may still be reincarnating. But I know this time, this life that I'm living now, I'm going to do the best that I can to heal every part of me that I can heal. So I don't have no more karmic lessons to learn. Like, teach me my lessons now, but teach me in love more than anything. You know what I mean? So, like, my healing is big to me.
And that right there, everything you just said encapsulates the inner wealth. All right, guys. Till next time.
Peace.
You've been listening to the Inner Wealth Podcast on EYL.
Get out the matrix and live.
Theme song produced by Be Ready for West Coast Creations. I am Razcast, reminding you to take action, be proactive, be congruent, get out of the matrix, get your mind right. We've automated mental health at inception. Join the movement.
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
Get out the matrix and live.